I have been rereading Blue Lights, and it's so freaking adorable. Uh, Honestly, like, I really need to do better at pushing this book because, like, it's just so adorable. More people need to read it. I want people to talk to about this. Actually, I'm probably gonna be sick of talking about it by the end of the summer. The reason that I'm rereading Blue Lights is because I am teaching in a summer program. It's a college prep program, and I'm going to be teaching English to 11th and 12th graders. And every year, I kind of just pick a novel that I want to focus in on and tailor my lessons around. This year, I picked Blue Lights. So we're going to be reading Blue Lights as a class, which means I'm going to be getting a lot of feedback from my target demographic. I don't think I'm going to tell the students that I wrote it. Um, I am RV Allister. For those who don't know, I'm not RV Allister. That is definitely a pen name, but it's very close to my actual name. So for those who put two and two together, great. They're not allowed to have cell phones during this program, and the odds of them remembering to look me up over the weekend are, well, to look up who RV Allister is over the weekend are kind of slim. So, I could probably remain anonymous for like 2 out of the 6 weeks. They don't have to know that I'm the author. But, anyways, yeah, was rereading it and had to stop because I had to record this video before my partner gets home from work. But left off with like an adorable moment turning into chaos because that's like how it always is. Who was it? Stephen King. Stephen King said that every page should have tension, even if it's small tension, but tension. And I don't know about every page, but there's always tension. Always little moments where you're just like, oh, everything's gonna go right. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It needs to go left at least one time on the road trip. It needs to go left every time it goes right on the road trip in order to hold on to the attention. Um, Last part I was just reading, I was on chapter 7. And this is when the romance between the two main characters starts to blossom. When you see our main character, Dante, unconsciously testing the waters of their relationship, doing things like reaching for his hand and they having heart to heart conversations, things that they've done before but haven't done in a long time as friends, and something just feels different now than it had in the past. Shared the first kiss, it went bad. Then again, and that went better, and now everything is about to be bad again. But I digress. You want to know more about that? Read the book. It's pretty cool, actually. I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. I genuinely think it's a pretty good book. Read the reviews. Other people think that as well. Anyways, hello. I'm RV Allister, author of Blue Lights, A Little Broken, Black Lights, and some more things. I'm constantly writing. You're always going to get a drop from me soon. Anywho, I've been participating in 75 Hard, right? Right. It's a challenge in which you do hard things for 75 days in a row. And one of the hard things in my life is this, talking to a camera. No, it's not something that I'm used to, but it's something that I want to get used to and being more consistent on YouTube. Ergo, a part of my 75 Hard Challenge is to be present here on YouTube, recording a video every single day. And I think this is the first time that I said more than like 2 sentences in a row while looking directly into the camera. So, there's that. Don't expect that again from me in this video. This was enough. Thank you. Anyways, every day I'm going to be answering a question that is about me or writing or one of my books. And today's question is, What is tight storytelling? I've been told this before. I've also been told this while I was still like in college when I started getting real feedback on my writing. Um, that I have very tight storytelling. What this means is that I am intentional with everything that I put into a story. I try not to have too much filler. I try not to waste people's time. If there is a scene in there, the scene has to be of service. Dialogue has to be of service. Visuals have to be of service. I'm not going to describe a couch unless me describing the couch helps you get a better understanding of the household. So if they are sitting down on the couch and it's just a normal couch and I don't need anything else, then they just sat down on the couch. But if me telling you that they sat down with caution on the cream sofa that held no stains with throw pillows arranged perfectly on the sides, it tells you something about the household. You get an understanding that this is not really a place to relax, that this is a model home. Like, this person cares a lot about aesthetics and looks, and it's not this cozy zone. So, everything that I put into a story, I put in with intention, and if it is not servicing the story, it does not stay. It's what causes like my first release, my debut book, Blue Lights, to be such a petite little thing. She ain't nothing but yay big, you know. But Thai storytelling does not necessarily mean that all books are going to be petite, because second book of Blue Lights, Black Lights. I'm just gonna actually disappear for a second, and ha ha ha, I have returned. Black Lights. So not petite. Like, it's okay. We like chunky books, but so not petite. But I would still make the argument that just about everything that's in this book serves a purpose when it comes to either plot, character development, or understanding the relationships in the story. So, this is when I lose a lot of people, because I understand so much that there are a lot of fantasy lovers in the world. But this is where a lot of fantasy writers lose me, because we'll spend so long at the very beginning of the book in world building. And I am the type of person where it's like, I don't need to understand everything before I get into it. I can figure it out as we go. So you don't need to tell me exactly how the magic system works. You don't need to explain the lay of the land. You don't need to tell me everything about the racial structures. You don't need to tell me everything about the different species. I will figure it out as I go. When I meet this person and this in this situation, then I'll understand more about their species, about what they do, and things of that nature. When I see them display magic, I will understand more about the magic system then. So many of us writers just like front load all of this information, and I feel like it's not really doing much of a service for us, because I get tired of reading it. I get bored. I'm like, when does the story start? And I'm like, why? Why am I reading all of these words when it feels like it doesn't have anything to do with story? And it might have something to do with story, but the thing is that the way that I write personally and the stories that I find myself enjoying are the ones that like spread out the information and tell you things as it becomes relevant. Because you tell me everything in chapter 1, you honestly expect me to remember that in chapter 30? No, but if you tell me in chapter 1 and then you remind me in chapter 30, now we're wasting words here because you already told me that. Like, that's the thing, a waste of words. I try not to do that. And I think where that comes from is when I started writing poetry in college. And the concept of poetry is to say as much as possible with as little as possible. Like, you want to get these broad ideas across in the shortest way possible. And that has bled into my writing of fiction as well, where I try to get the readers to understand something without having to explain everything. And this actually falls into something that a lot of readers have been going through lately. I've been seeing a lot of discord on this matter of people feeling like books have been dumbed down. Not in a manner of language and things of that nature, but in a manner of they feel like the author is explaining everything to them. And they don't really have the opportunity as a reader to spectate, to ponder, to figure out what's going on in the story. Sorry, I need water. I am a human. And that's because the author is literally telling you everything. Like a thing that I try to avoid when I write. I can't always avoid it, but something I try to avoid when writing is I try to avoid writing names of emotions. Stay with me here. I never want to write, I was sad. Because I want you to know what sadness looks like and feels like within the character. So I will describe how the character feels. I will describe how the character looks. I will describe, or if I'm in the point of view character, then the kind of words they're using, the tone that they're using, should indicate, like, ding, 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 oh, hey, this guy is kind of somber. But it seems like a lot of literature is just like, and she was sad. So she drank a coffee and went shopping. Like, no. Let me witness her coming into the house with a deep sigh, forgetting to take her shoes off at the door, tossing her keys aside in the area that she did not dedicate for her keys, and walk straight past her cat that wants the attention that she does not give it. Let me see her open the refrigerator, close it, and then open it again with another deep sigh, trying to figure out what she wants, knowing that this is more than just about food. Like, let me figure this out on my own. Don't just tell me. And that's something that, like, I try to implicate within writing, and something that, like, kind of, again, I've lately I've been putting books down because of it, because I'm like, you're annoying me. You keep on telling me things that I could have figured out on my own. Why are you doing this? And I am one to understand, like, there, when I pick up a book to read, there are, I say to myself, whether this sorry, when I pick up a book to read, I will determine within the first couple of chapters if this is a book that I am reading for just pure entertainment value, or if this is a book that I am reading to try and not spark inspiration for a story. I actually don't get a lot of inspiration for stories from other stories, but, like, help with creative ways of expressing a story. So if it's a book that does not have, like, the most elegant writing, I can surpass that if the story is fun. If the story is not fun, and it also does things like keep telling me how characters feel, and the show don't tell, then I might just put it down because there are so many books on this dang on planet and I will never be able to read them all. So I'll give you a shot, but I have not been afraid to DNF a book lately. You know, and you shouldn't be either. But again, with tight storytelling, these skills are things that allow for you to have tight storytelling where you aren't over explaining scenarios. Sometimes you can just drop that piece of dialogue and then keep going. You don't have to explain what it was. It's not like you're writing an academic paper where every time you put a quote, you have to explain how that quote fits the theme of the story. You never, in a fictional novel, you never have to explain how something fits the theme of the story. That is definitely something that your audience, your readers, should be putting together on their own. That's why they're there. I know that's not why everyone's always there. We definitely like a good brain off story every now and again, but let us ponder. Let us wonder. This is why I'm not the biggest fan of dual point of view. I will read a dual point of view book, but I'm not the biggest fan of them because I like not knowing what's going on when the main character is not there. This is also why I write in first person a lot, because I like the matter of having this pondering, this idea that where you don't exactly know what's going on in the other person's head. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You are stuck to this one person, and all of your knowledge, all of your information, and all of your inferences are coming from just this one person and how they think. And the more unstable they are, the better. Because I love a good unreliable narrator. Um, but when I'm reading a story, so like this happens in romances a lot where we have like the dual point of view. So you'll read from like the female point of view, and then she like meets this guy, and things are happening, and she's like, I wonder how he feels about me. I want to sit there and I want to wonder how he feels about you too. But instead, we go to chapter 4 and we're in his point of view, and he's like, oh, hey, I kind of like this chick. Well, I have no reason to continue to think about this moment. It doesn't make, as a reader, it doesn't make me want to keep going. It doesn't make me sit around and think about the book once I put the book down. It takes out the speculation. It takes out the, again, with the tension, with conflict. At the end of every turn, like, you're giving me a question and you're answering the question by going to another person's point of view. You don't need to answer a question. Everything does not need to be wrapped up in a pretty bow at the end of every chapter. Conflict continues. Right now, right now, I am currently working on the third book. I'm currently working on the third book of Blue Lights. Spotlights is the title that I'm working with right now. All of the lights. There's so many lights. Anyways, so Spotlights. We are at a fun moment, fun for me because I love writing people in panic. My main character is in panic, kind of, because he is currently under the impression that his boyfriend would like to take intimacy to the next step tonight, as they are currently on a college campus for homecoming and they're going to a college party, and they actually get to share a dorm room all to themselves. And because of some things that happened earlier, he is under the impression that his partner would like to go all the way. He does not know how to feel about it, what to do, anything. Every now and again, he spirals. This conflict, this internal conflict that only he is facing right now. Nobody else is dealing with this. This has been going on for the past like 3 chapters. And although he and his partner have had conversations to kind of like ease it for the moment, this is a character who struggles with saying and talking about how he actually feels and things of that nature. He's getting better at it, Black Lights addressed this a lot. And again, with the not everything is going to be solved. So, like, he's better at talking about his feelings. Is he a pro at it? No, because he's still dealing with the issue of separation between him and his partner. He and Major had been friends since they were literally 6 years old. So sometimes he has a difficult time differentiating his wants versus Major's wants because he was always so used to just going along and following Major. So he's still having issues with things like that. These things are ongoing. Think about a real life human being. You don't just have one conversation, then all of your problems are solved. Like, you never dial back into those insecurities again. That's not how it works. So, just in a matter of like realism, I know it's fiction. In a matter of realism, keep things concise. Let us think about things. Let us ponder. Let us sit with problems. Because when you are constantly creating problems, yes, you have to create problems, but when you're constantly creating problems and then solving the problem immediately, it feels too easy to put the book down and keep going. Actually, speaking of putting things down, I'm going to put this down right here, right now, because tomorrow we're supposed to be talking about bingeability. So, I'm going to stop here. This is the Inner Monologue. I am RV Alistair. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll be back for the next a lot of days. Actually, this is day 8, and I'm still consistent. Clap it up for me, y'all, in the comics. All 6 of you, please. It'll make me happy. Okay, bye.